Hey everybody, I hope you guys are doing well. So if you are new to my channel, which about 2,000 of you are in the past week or so, welcome, welcome, welcome. But if you are not, and you've been around for at least a year or so, you are familiar with the content that I have put out about Love and Marriage Huntsville's Melody Holt and Martell Holt and the drama that has surrounded them for the last several months or so. Actually, a little over a year, actually. So, just to give credit here, I didn't originally start off watching Love and Marriage Huntsville when it first aired. The reason why I actually started or even became even remotely interested in it was because of Funky Dineva. Now, Funky Dineva is what got me to watch it, because I used to sit there and just watch Funky Dineva's reviews on the show to the point where I was like, I gotta watch it. And I've done that for several shows that Funky Dineva has reviewed. I started watching Pose simply because Funky Dineva reviewed it. So after about, I guess, 3 episodes or so of him reviewing it, I decided to check it out for myself. And I was like, okay, I like this show. And the show is basically about these uber successful entrepreneurs down in Huntsville, Alabama. These, like successful black couples. Like they follow a few successful black couples. And the breakout couple was Melody and Martell. And there's a couple of reasons why they were the breakout. Melody just has like this kind of Southern Belle personality, very, very charming. But also it was their background or their storyline that got people to really pay attention to them. Now, their storyline centered around the fact that Martell had been cheating on Melody for several years with the same woman. And the show, the first season, pretty much centers around this affair that he previously had and how they're trying to work their way back into a healthy marriage. But Martell doesn't really want to keep harping on the fact that he did it, and Melody can't let it go. So there's contention between them because they are at 2 different places where he wants to just move on. And she's like, it happened to me. I can't just forget it. Now, in that same season, he went on to call the mistress, her name is actually Ariane, or the mistress, or Peasant. He went on to call her Peasant. He called her a peasant, and that set the internet ablaze. Because once he called Ariane a peasant, all these people came out the woodwork. Funky Dineva did like a calling all people from Huntsville, let us know the tea. And they did. And they were saying he's calling her a peasant, but what he refuses to say is that he was definitely digging in that peasant for several years, and he had gotten that peasant a car, and he would go up to that peasant's job, and he was paying that peasant's condo mortgage, right? He was doing a lot for the peasant, okay? And it was just a big mess. Now, after that, him and Ariane seemed to not necessarily be together anymore. Like, once the whole peasant thing came out, it was clear that they had parted ways. They weren't seeing each other anymore. Melody was, again, trying to drum up her marriage as this beautiful thing, posting pictures with her and her husband, at homecoming and stuff like that, and that they were doing this together and doing that together. She was excited that they were, invited to the Rock Nation brunch. So they were hobnobbing with some, the elite black folks, which is, to me, was the goal of Melody in the first place. Is that she wanted the fame. She wanted to be a brand. I remember when she went on and on and on about getting her blue check. Like, they wanted to have the fame, and they felt like this was their way in to show what was happening in their household. Okay. Now, the peasant, her and Martell supposedly weren't seeing each other, okay, anymore. They were done. Melody was pregnant with another child. It was over. And what Ariane put out to Melody, she pretty much sent her a message, okay? While they was at homecoming, her Martell and Melody eating corn on the cob, Ariane sent her a message saying, well, while you was over there eating corn on the cob with your husband, he was eating my corn on the cob. He was eating my elotes. Okay. And it was just a big old mess. And once she put them on blast, once she put both of them, Martell and Melody, on blast, basically saying that they're using her for a storyline, one would think that this was over and done with. Like, they would just be over and done. But apparently they weren't. Because even after Melody had her baby, they had their daughter, I believe, at the end of December. She's not even a year old, guys. Apparently, Martell has messed around and got the Peasant pregnant. Okay? Now, I could tell that they weren't together, Martell and Melody, because if you watch it was a very abbreviated season because of the Rona, but you could just tell, like, their chemistry, their on-screen chemistry wasn't there. I felt like they were just doing it to just do it, to go along, to get along. Their storyline this season was, oh, Melody works too much. She's taking on too many jobs. She's taking on too many things. And I want her to be at home more. Now, as this is playing out, the tea is already out there that Melody and Martell don't even live together. It was reported that Melody had moved to Atlanta. That was just a report. I don't know if that's true or not. But the report was that Melody didn't even live in the same state no more with Martell. And I was watching, because when I would watch the show, I would watch the tweets that Melody put out. And you could just tell that she was just feeling some type of way. She was feeling different about it. Like, she just wasn't trying to put on airs anymore. She was just kind of letting it play out. She went on her live not too long ago. She did a live. And she basically went on live and said that Martell had messed around and got the Peasant pregnant. He got Ariane pregnant. Now, I couldn't clip the live the way I wanted it to. So I'm just going to go ahead and share like a little excerpt of what she said. I'm just going to read it, okay? My dramatic reading. Okay, and scene. As I shared with him, and he knows this, I already dealt with the tears, the depression, because you publicly have embarrassed me. You publicly have humiliated me. You have continued to cheat. Other people calling me stupid for giving you other chances, all this extra stuff. And now that I'm walking away from you, you can't handle it. I literally just got an email at Friday at 12. Let's be together. Our beautiful kids. We can start anew. All of that. I left you. I filed for divorce and you told me you had a baby on the way. You told me you had a baby on the way and she wasn't getting rid of it because she's gotten rid of kids for y'all before and she wasn't doing it this time. So why are you even bothering me? So I'm asking you now, just leave me alone. So that is from Insane, sorry. And that was from Melody. Like I said, that was from a live that she did where she put him on blast. Now, once Melody put Martell on blast, Martell called himself trying to save face. And so he recently did an interview with Dr. Heavenly on her YouTube channel. You can look it up. I guess I'll put the link on there. It's cool. I'll put the link on. And that live was nothing short of just watching a narcissism do what narcissists do. It was just disgusting to me personally, okay? But I have to note something before I really get into Dr. Heavenly's interview with Martell. Now, in that interview, Martell pretty much says that he don't have anything to do with Ariane anymore. Like, they're not seeing each other. He refused to answer, and he was being evasive when Dr. Heavenly kept asking him, is she pregnant? Is she pregnant? Is she pregnant? He kept trying to take it back and deflect and say, oh, it's Melody's fault, it's Melody's fault, which, again, I'm going to get into. But I want to make that clear to you guys just how much of a bullshitter he is. Because, again, he kept trying to act like he wasn't seeing her anymore. He don't even talk to her. Funky Dineva put out a video on his channel today saying that Ariane was blowing up his phone and blowing him up and blowing him up and blowing him up on behalf of Martell. Martell called Funky Dineva and was like, I want you to interview me. Because I felt like he was trying to counter what Melody had put out there about this upcoming baby, this upcoming birth. And Funky Dineva was like, if I wanted to interview you, I would have asked. No. So he never did interview with Funky Dineva, and he ended up with Dr. Heavenly. Now, the interview with Dr. Heavenly is interesting because, to me, she coddled him for a huge portion of that interview. He went on to basically blamed Melody the entire interview for the fact that he cheated. He honestly blamed her for the simple fact that, like, you know, it's her fault that he cheated because she wasn't paying any attention to him. You know, he has done so much for his family. Women need to take care of their man. So if he want to have sex, you need to drop what you're doing to have sex. If he want to have head, you need to drop what you're doing to have head. You know, give him head. It is Melody's fault, the reason why he stepped out and was with another woman for 5 years, guys. That's pretty much what he did in that whole thing. And I do think that Dr. Heavenly, she balanced the listening part of it. You can see her face. I think she was probably in disbelief. She did balance the listening part of listening and hearing him out before she kind of rebutted or asked him a follow-up. But like I said, he was very evasive in even admitting, he would not admit that Ariane was pregnant. That tea been out there. If you've ever been on Lipstick Alley, or you visit or you follow this IG and Facebook Original Straight No Chaser, the tea been out there about Ariane being pregnant. It's been out. He just was being evasive and trying to deflect and basically putting it off on Melody and saying, well, she cheated too. She cheated. She cheated with one of my frat brothers. She cheated with an attorney. And all I could think of is, like, to myself, like, considering what you've done to her, if she even laid down once with another man, it ain't even remotely the same as what you've been doing to her for 5 years with the same woman. Now, I'm not saying it's right because they're both married, but if she got a little get back on you, it ain't even half or even a portion or a section of what he has been doing to her with the same woman. The same woman. The peasant. The one that he claimed that was a peasant that he didn't like, he didn't want, you know. And I got a couple of words for Ariane at the end of this, though, too. But, yes, he basically blamed Melody throughout the entire interview with Dr. Heavenly. He said that he even alleges that Melody had a couple of abortions. Now, I feel like he dropped that abortion bomb and it was strategic. I felt like he wanted to paint Melody as not necessarily being this goody two-shoes woman. He didn't come out and say he didn't think those were his kids. He did not. He didn't come out outright and say it, but I feel like he wanted to paint the picture that people should still give her the side eye. That, you know, I took it as maybe she did it because they were just a time in their careers and stuff like that where she just didn't want to, you know, bring another, you know, life into the house, you know, another mouth to feed, just another responsibility. Because again, this last baby that they had, the two of them, who's not even a year old yet, you can just clearly tell. I mean, of course they love their children, but Melody has other aspirations, other things that she wants to do. And the last few episodes of Love and Marriage Huntsville, before they cut it short, was about the fact that he feels like Melody is not taking care of home. And I feel like he was kind of like laying the groundwork, planting the seeds as to she ain't even here. She ain't even trying to be here. See, she don't pay attention to me. And then he goes on to Dr. Heavenly's show and basically does the same thing. She's the reason why. She basically the reason why I cheat. Ladies, you should take care of your man. You should pay attention to your man. If your man want to get some head, you stop and you give him head. If your man wants some sex, you better stop and give him that sex. And that's basically what he was saying. And Dr. Heavenly pushed back on him and was like, wait a minute now. If she's not sleeping with you and if she's not doing this and then that, you probably need to find out what's wrong. What's wrong with her? Maybe there is something going on that she's not communicating to you, instead of you going out there and making an excuse as to why you cheated. Because all he did was make excuses throughout the entire interview as to why he did what he did. And the sad part about it all is that he still refused to acknowledge Ariane, the peasant. Right? After all of that, you having a baby with this woman that you have been seeing for 5 years off and on in your marriage, and you are having a whole child with her that's going to be your other 4 kids' siblings, and you couldn't even acknowledge her. And you denied that you even talked to her still. Yet, she's the one that reached out to Funky Dineva on your behalf. Now, how that look? Ariane, I hope you know that you look a little foolish. You look a whole lot foolish. Because now he's your problem. He's your problem. You didn't win anything from Melody. Now you got a problem. Now you are going to see, if you haven't yet, what she's been dealing with him. Because the truth of the matter is, guys, listen, I don't know if I think the old adage is true, right? When you got somebody on the side and you move into the first position, there's a vacancy. So Ariane might feel like that she's moved into the first position, but there's a vacancy, Ariane. And after this interview, Melody put a gag order on Martell. And my guess is that she put, this is the paperwork, this is a gag order. And I am guessing that Melody put a gag order on Martell and told him to shut the entire F up, because he out here saying that she's having abortions, that she had abortions and some of this stuff. Now, is it fair? Is it fair? I don't know. Because again, Melody did blast him first and put the stuff out there about him having Ariane pregnant. So now that he has spoken out and said his side of it, if that's what you want to call it, Melody has said, nope, nope, you ain't talking no more about that. And she put a gag order out on him. So, you know, this is just a whole mess. It really, really is a mess. And I am curious as to how they're going to spin this for the show, right? I am curious, because when it left off, they were still arguing about how best to juggle the household. And that's another thing that I want to bring up about that interview with Dr. Heavenly and Martell. I felt like Dr. Heavenly was coddling him a while. Like, she coddled him a bit before she got in his ass at the end. But she coddled him, and she kept saying things along the lines of, you know, I commend you for taking care of your kids. I commend you for being a great dad and taking care of your kids. As if the bar is so goddamn low that you have to commend a father for being a father. That's what they're supposed to do. Like, can we please stop doing that and stop perpetuating that as if we know that there's a percentage of folks that don't do what the hell they're supposed to do. But let's not keep perpetuating that as if every black man out here not taking care of their kids, or they should get a cookie for doing what they're supposed to do. Like, you should not get a cookie for taking care of your children. You should not get a cookie for being a father. You're a father. You don't commend mothers for doing that. Like, let's stop. Let's stop. So I felt like she was kind of placating and she was kind of coddling him at the beginning of that interview. But she did eventually get into the nitty gritty. She kept asking him, is she pregnant? Is she pregnant? And he would evade the question, which means yes. Which was yes. Okay. But again, if you was on Lipstick Alley, which I love, if you was ever on Lipstick Alley, or you was following Original Straight No Chaser, the tea's been out there about Ariane and everything. And the fact, again, he's been messing with this woman for 5 years. But I hope Ariane realizes that, you know, you think you won, but you haven't won nothing, baby girl. You have not. And, you know, Melody was never my favorite. I love Kimmy on the show. I've never really took to Melody. But I feel bad for her. I really do. Because I cannot imagine having a man that cheated on me with the same woman for 5 years. I would feel some type of way about that too. So she had every right to feel what she feels. She has every right to move on with her life and do what she needs to do for her and hers. And I don't blame her one bit, right? And I just think that this marriage cannot be salvaged. There is no way I can see Melody bringing in this kid and welcoming this other child with open arms. I just don't see it happening. I just don't. But I am definitely I'm looking forward to the new, you know, the rest of the season. I don't know if they're recording or not, but I certainly looking forward to seeing how they're going to spin this, because, you know, Melody is an executive producer on the show. So I wonder how she's going to spin this and how she's going to use this, you know, all the shit that's happening right now in her life and with this new baby coming along. I'm curious, y'all. But anyway, go back and look at my videos. I have done a lot of them. I'll put them in the description box. And I, of course, will see you guys on the next video. Do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe. And hit that notification bell. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.